Hey kids, it's Mrs. Dean. We are going to make some Indian corn with watercolor and ink, and this will be a fun little fall/Thanksgiving art project. So what you will need is a piece of art paper, your Sharpie, the one with the fine tip, or you can use another ink pen, and you'll need your watercolors, a pencil, and an eraser. All right, let's get started. All right, the first thing we are going to do is sketch out our picture. You're gonna do this in pencil. Don't push very hard because we are gonna go over it later in pen, and you're gonna wanna erase your pencil marks. I'm gonna push a little bit harder just so that you can see it. So we are going to make 3 different ears of corn, and I like to start with the ones that are gonna be in the background. And these don't have to be perfect. Kind of a oval that comes down a little bit more to a point. And you're going to want to make one on the left and one on the right. And it's okay if you make one a little longer or a little shorter than the other one. And finally, the one in the middle is going to be in the foreground. It's going to be in front of these 2. So I'm going to make this one slightly bigger, and it's going to overlap the other 2 ears of corn. You can go ahead and erase where it overlaps. Now I'm going to make the corn husk. This is the part that is green when the corn is fresh, but once it is dried out, it kind of becomes this brown, yellow, beige, crinkly wrapping. And it's gonna kind of be like wavy ribbons. So I'm gonna start with the corn in the front, and I think that this ends up looking kind of like a hairstyle, like somebody's bangs. And this is going to go a little bit wider than your corn. And when it comes towards the bottom, it's going to kind of curve a little bit. And this is going to overlap. And it kind of looks like somebody's hair. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Only this is going to go behind. And I am going to just make this slightly overlap. And then I'm going to erase the line where my corn is, just so that I don't get confused later. So now I think that it looks like my corn has hair. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some husks on these two. And this one is going to kind of go behind my ear of corn. It's gonna kind of blend in behind it, but maybe overlap just in the top. And on this one, I am going to have, let's see, I'm going to start here. I'm going to have this one be really wavy. And I'm deciding that I want my ear of corn just to go to here, because I want to leave enough room to actually paint. And then on this side, I'm gonna also have it come in behind like that. Now, please remember, you are not pushing hard. I'm only pushing hard because I want you to be able to see it on the video. So now all of my corn has some hair. And I am going to now, I'm gonna see where this, this husk kind of tucks behind. I'm going to actually make it so that it sticks out a little bit over here, just so that we add some interesting movement. And I'm gonna pretend like this also comes down in this direction and kind of ends here. I'm gonna make that just a little bit wider. Kind of gives the impression that our corn is all bunched up together and the husks are kind of flowing everywhere. Now I'm gonna do some of the husk up here on the top, and this is just gonna kind of look like wild, crazy ribbon hair. And I am going to want to give the impression that some of it is twisting and turning. So I'm going to make some of it going off the page and overlapping others. And I think this is gonna go up this way. And I wanna make another one that's kind of going up here, and I'm gonna make it overlap. And each time I overlap, I just have to erase the original mark. And if I want to make it appear that one of these pieces is twisted, I go ahead and make a curved line, and then I'm going to make it come up in a point. And then I go down where it starts to curve, and I continue the line. So this area right here will look like it's just kind of twisted over. And I'm just going to make some more over this way, and I'll make another one kind of twisting down in this direction. And now I have some of my corn husks. Okay, now that we have our ears of corn and our husks drawn in, I'm going to show you how to make the corn kernels. So starting on this left ear of corn, I'm going to make some lines that kind of cut across diagonally. And this is just going to be my guide to where to draw my kernels. Now, if you've ever seen real Indian corn, it doesn't, it's not perfect. It's very colorful. And these aren't going to be squares. They're just going to be square rounded with rounded edges. Not quite squares, not quite circles. And some are going to be skinny, some are going to be fat. You don't want these to look perfect. And these that go in between and get kind of cut off, you're going to want to be careful to make sure that you're following where your corn husk is. And you're just going to kind of start making these kernels going down along where these guidelines are. Now please don't make it look like a grid. You want to make them look like they're little individual kernels. And this might take you a while. You're going to do the same thing on these next two. Once you get to, I don't know, your second or third, if you're feeling confident in your kernel drawing ability, you can try it with just the pen. Please make sure you use something, not a regular Sharpie, that's going to be way too thick. Something with a fine tip. And if you do that, I would draw the guidelines in pencil and then go back in with your pen. Because all of the guidelines are going to get erased. So let me show you what that would look like. if you want to just keep doing the whole thing in pencil and then go back and trace over every single one of them later, please be my guest. But know that it might take a while. Okay? And then after you do all three, I will show you how to do the husks. All right, now that you have your kernels all drawn in and hopefully traced, you're gonna wanna make sure that you trace all of your corn husks. After you have all of your husks and your kernels traced, you are going to need to make sure that you take a decent eraser and erase all of your pencil marks. All right, after you've made sure all of your pencil marks have been thoroughly erased, you are going to take your pen one more time, and we are going to add a little bit of texture to our corn husks. Because if you ever see corn husks, they're kind of crinkled and folded, and they've got these lines in them. And so we also want to add some dimension to this, and we're going to make it appear like some of these are folding on each other and in front of other husks, and some are behind. So this will also not only add texture, it's going to add some depth and shadow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my corn husks up at the top, and I'm going to identify which ones are in the very back. Like this one is behind everything, and right where it falls in between the other two, I'm going to make these little lines, which are called hatch marks. And they're really fast, and they're not very perfect. And I'm just gonna make a bunch of little hatch marks, and then I'm gonna go across, kind of make a checkerboard. This is called cross hatching. And what it does is it adds texture and the appearance that there's a shadow there, that this husk is behind my others. And as it gets closer to the top and farther away from the others, I'm just gonna add a few lines, not as many, okay? My next one, right next to it, is also behind some of the others. And so just where it touches the other husks, I'm gonna make some of these hatch marks. And I'm gonna do just a little bit of the cross hatching. And as it goes up, I'm gonna put just a few of these other texture marks. And this one actually curves and folds, see right here? And so I want this to look like there's a little bit of a shadow there. So I'm gonna put some of these hatch marks back there. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one. Where it touches the others, I'm gonna make these fast little hatch marks. Go across. I can also do a few in the other direction. Just to show that there is a shadow there. And as it gets farther away, just a few little wispy texture marks. And this one also folds. You don't want to push really hard for these. They're supposed to be like fast, and it's okay if it looks a little bit messy. When we add color, it won't appear to be as messy. Okay. And it's okay to move your paper around as you draw. Okay, so I have all of the top finished. Now I'm going to show you how to do the ones that are around the corn. And I'm going to start with the ones that are in the back. I'm going to find where it overlaps, the part that would be a little bit in shadow. I'm gonna make my hatch marks. And I'm just going to add some texture marks. Now this one, I want to make it appear like when I get down here, that this part right here has kind of folded next to the corn. And so I am going to make it look like there's a little bit of shadow there. I'm gonna put these hatch marks in. I don't want it all black. I want to leave a little bit of space to let some of the watercolor show through. Now down here, this is behind the corn. So I'm going to put some hatch marks carefully, not to go over the corn, in close. And then because this is behind the other one, I'm also going to make a few right there, leaving the center with less lines. And then because it continues down this way, I'm going to add some more down there. Now I'm going to do this one over here. I'm going to find where it would be overlapped by this husk right here, and I'm going to put just a few hatch marks. And because right along here, there's a fold, I'm gonna run my pen, making hatch marks, kind of shooting out from where that fold would be. Can you see that? And now I'm gonna go in the other direction. Now, there shouldn't be any areas of your husk that are perfectly white. They should all have some kind of lines on them. All right, you can grab your watercolors now and a cup of water. And you're also going to obviously need a brush. And I would also grab a napkin or paper towel to dab your brush with. All right,